America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to foot.
We're losing our democracy!
More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into that, let's get into this. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is live stream Friday. As we do every Friday here, we come together to talk about the latest news, politics, culture, the fall of Western civilization as we know it, and kind of just kick back and have a good time. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, man?
What's good, man? Doing fine. Dealing with the heat and, watching fucking Bulls melt down. How you doing, bro?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just enjoying this special holiday. As you guys know, it is, in fact, 8/8. Your ears perking up there? You hearing that dog whistle? No, I'm just kidding. that's what
they don't understand the things we say on Twitter.
Yeah. There's of course, the classic, Frank Figazy with his, the classic, the dog whistle. Fucking, he held it on 8/8. You know what that means. Everybody knows
the
what that means.
Is H.
You know what that means. He loves Hoagie House.
There's only one left.
Right. But so this week, little bit of news going down. It wasn't too bad. I mean, there was that fucking that weirdo fucking shooting on the military base too. I don't have that on the list, but that was something weird that happened. Of course, gun control in action. But then there's a whole bunch of talk about Texas redistricting. Apparently, Democrats have fled the state in order to avoid voting on redistricting, and they're getting support from far left Democrats like Gavin Newsom and all the California commies, and of course the left right now is crying victim over redistricting when everybody knows that the left is the fucking king of redistricting. This is like fucking Nancy Pelosi crying fucking wolf over somebody doing insider trading. It's like it does not compute. It's basically like I say, it's hypocrisy at its finest. We also have Los Angeles on fire again. The DC police deliberately manipulating numbers so that way, during the 2024 campaign season, it could seem like violence has gone way down than the cities is. Of course, crime stats have gone down, but crime has gone up. So, it all works out. It's a balancing act, right? We have, of course, the legend, the man, the myth, Big Balls, earning that title to the fullest. Of course, we'll get into that, but it's definitely some heroic stuff, but the left won't let you know anything about that. We also got Pam Bondi's raised the price on the head of one Nicolas Maduro, otherwise known as the leader of Venezuela. Some people call him the president, some people call him the leader. It depends what you believe as into their corruption. And then of course the news du jour, the title, the thumbnail. Is The View getting canceled, or is it just on their normal summer hiatus, right? So that's basically what everybody's talking about right now over here on the Twitter sphere. Well, not really right now. It's about 10 hours ago. But let's go ahead and hop in and look in on some of this. Because, of course, there's several views on this, no pun intended. But some people are saying it's canceled. Some people are saying that, no, they're just on their summer hiatus. And other people are Rosie O'Donnell. So let's go ahead and check this out. All right, so Blonde Lady 2024, singer-songwriter, The Truth may sometimes hurt for a moment, but it will set you free. Trump won MAGA. All right. I right on. You're on our side, I suppose, if you're a real person. But anyway, just in, ABC will be canceling The View After I'm sure that means many years of propaganda, our country is finally healing. Right, so you're going to see a whole lot of stuff like this. Rumors are circulating that ABC is canceling the View. Do you support this? And this one's kind of milquetoast, but huge breaking news: The View has been canceled. Say goodbye to this cesspool of losers. But then you start to get into things like this. Readers added context they thought you might want to know. The View has not been canceled. It's returning for season 29 in September, and it's according to a source. But if you click on this source, which I did, all it does is it brings you to ABC's Hulu page with The View, and it's basically all that this source right here does is it just shows you that it's still watchable. So that means that obviously it didn't get canceled, because obviously when you cancel something, you immediately pull all of their previous shows and stuff like that. So if it's still available on Hulu, that must mean that it was not canceled. I actually haven't listened to this one yet, but we'll check that out in a minute. But real quick, I just want to get your thoughts on what you think is actually happening. Do you think they're getting canceled? Do you think they're on hiatus? Do you think Rosie O'Donnell's fat?
I think she's a fat pig, and of course, there's rumors floating around the air zones here, like you're seeing that she's the one that started the rumor. Of course, Orange Man's as bad as he's going to cancel The View, but 29 seasons, I didn't even realize, dude. What a disgusting state that you know what I mean. Our society's been in that trash like this has been on. This is Jerry Springer for modern day professionally offended feminists, man. And, of course, you want to see it canceled. Why would you? I mean, asinine, ridiculous drivel on a, hour to hour basis, right? A minute to minute rather. And, it's millionaire chicks, complaining how they're oppressed. It's, right. It's just, slop. And, these same people, like I'm sure, people remember the clips that were floating around when Trump used to come on The View, and they would just gush over him and kiss him and hug him and, how he's their good buddy. But, just like, most Democrats, as soon as he ran as a Republican, all of a sudden, eight.
Right.
So, you want to see it get gone, man. But I have my doubts just for the simple fact, of the outcry from the left when these shows, these platforms, Colbert and so on get canceled, and it comes to find out that they've done, they're the WNBA of media. They've done nothing but lose money the entire time, and so they might try to keep this one on. Yeah.
Right. Shit, honestly, I think somebody needs to throw a fucking dildo at The View. Maybe they'll fucking keep them on. Who knows?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hit old Karen Johnson right in that big forehead, right? I mean,
right.
She likes to be called Whoopi because it's popular to be a juice box, but we know the truth. Whoops.
Right. Yeah, I honestly do think that whole fucking, the dildos that continuously get thrown on the court, I honestly think that's for ratings. And I think we talked about this before. I think everything that's going on with the WNBA right now is simply for, to try and save their skins, because ultimately they're not profitable. They never have been. And nobody actually paid attention to them until they started beating up on little old Caitlin Clark. And then, all of a sudden they started getting ratings, and now all of a sudden there's dildos flying on the court and they're getting ratings, dude. Like, I mean, honestly, they should just have them fucking put on a bunch of clown suits and, go out there and entertain the people. They'll actually get people to watch at that point,
Yep. The female Globetrotters and shit.
Right.
I'm sure they'd have better attendance.
All right. Maybe one day someone will dunk too. All right, let's go ahead and check out this real quick. So many celebrated The View's end during its hiatus, and now ABC have officially canceled it. About time. The show spewed hate, lies, and propaganda, yet even left-leaning viewers didn't watch. It survived on sound bites and clips like Stephen Colbert and Howard Stern. Right? I honestly do think that's a little bit true. I do think a lot of the reason that these people are surviving is if you watch Crowder during the entire show and stuff like that, they have The View playing in the background just in case. I mean, not The View, people like CNN, these MSNBC and stuff like that, just so they could see, any sort of breaking dumb shit that they're about to say. But I'm pretty sure a lot of their views are just people just waiting to fucking catch them in something stupid, people that are just trying to clip them and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, even the replays, I would assume it's the same thing.
Right. People screen grabbing it real quick to fucking make a video about it. But let me play this video. I'll be right back. I forgot my pen.
A lot of us had already celebrated it because we understood that The View was getting canceled when they went on hiatus. But now ABC and Rosie O'Donnell have officially announced The View is done and not coming back at all. And it's about damn time. The hate that came out of that show, the lies that came out of that show, the propaganda. It's amazing that their own viewers, the left-leaning viewers, couldn't sustain the show. They weren't even watching. They were just putting out propaganda for sound bites so that people would put clips of the videos from the show and spread it that way because their audience was just not there, just like Colbert. And interesting enough, nobody was watching Howard Stern either. And he wasn't making no money, and they were paying him a lot of money. Just like The View, they were getting paid millions, and nobody was watching. And people were like, oh my God, they're canceling the shows. Yeah. Not even the left is watching them.
Right, nobody watching that shit. Yeah, that's not true.
Terrible.
I do know people that watch that. My mother-in-law. I don't know if she watches that, but she's one of those lefties. She watches all that stuff, all the propaganda. Oh, the fruits are gonna rot in the fields. Nobody's gonna come pick the crops.
Cotton.
Right. Yep. But let's see. Nick Sorter. That's a reputable name. So The View is about to be canceled by ABC following the network's fight with President Trump, former host Rosie O'Donnell alleges. Just to creep you out, just because,
Yeah.
just to make you hurl a little bit. Right. See, breaking ABC to cancel The View to appease President Trump, says former co-host Rosie. All right, so this fact check has a little bit of a different one. So The View has not been canceled; it's returning for right. Never mind. It's a different fact check further down the line. This one is a different fact check with a different link. Let me go ahead and pull that one up real quick. So, The View going on hiatus. Joy Behar accidentally reveals the news one day before the break. All right, so notice the date on this, if you can, if it's a little bit far out. Let me zoom in a little. So July 24th, 2025. All right, at 11:45 a.m. So Joy Behar shocked The View co-host when she seemingly unexpectedly let news slip about the show's upcoming hiatus. She shared the news at the top of the Thursday, July 24th episode. Before we go on hiatus, we only have one more show after this, and I'm allowed to say that, right? Behar asked, which Alyssa Farah Griffin laughed and responded, "Too late now." Her producer chimed in from the background to add, "Doesn't really matter." Doesn't really matter. That instills confidence from your producer from the background. Like, I don't fucking care anymore. Right. A source confirmed to TV Insider that the show will be on its annual summer hiatus beginning next week. The View goes on summer break every year in August and returns after Labor Day. This year, the break will begin on Monday, July 28th, which seems to be a few days earlier than usual. That means there will be just one more episode, Friday, July 25th, before The View is off the air for several weeks. All right, so let's go ahead and check this clip real quick.
And before we go on hiatus, we only have one more show after this. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Too late now.
So it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to tell people that the tide is turning. The tide is turning, and things are changing. I mean, the ultimate irony would be that Rupert Murdoch will take him down.
Yeah.
Fox News, who created the monster, will take him down.
Had a week off for July 4th, which is typical. After news of the hiatus slip out, the women continue controversy surrounding the Epstein files. The first segment of Hot Topics touched on recent Wall Street Journal report that Attorney General Pam Bondi told Trump that his name appeared in Epstein files multiple times. The news of The View's hiatus created a bit of a stir on social media, with many wondering whether the break will become permanent if the show gets the same treatment as Stephen Colbert's late night show, which was recently canceled by CBS following parent company Paramount's controversial settlement with President Trump after he sued them. right? And then it's, of course, all the comments are just like, it seems the tremendous chorus could be is hoping that it could be permanent. The show has far exceeded its sell by date late night shows. Younger viewers avoid that kind of programming like the bubonic plague. So it's just a whole bunch of comments like that. All right. So yeah, but like I said, when you look at the that specific article, and then you look at all of these, like I say, that was several weeks ago, back on July 24th or 25th, and all of this talk just started today, right? And normally it's I doubt the internet just missed that news a couple of weeks ago, which leads me to believe that perhaps some sort of new information has emerged that perhaps they might not bring them back, or even if they do bring them back, maybe they'll bring them back just for that last season, just because it was already paid for, much in the same way that they did with Stephen Colbert. So, I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know. Like I say, it does seem like there's renewed interest in this whole talk of hiatus, but yeah, we'll see.
What's crazy is I forget, is it NBC or ABC? I think it's ABC, right? But they're owned by their news division, which is, this is not news. This is just people giving their whacked ass opinions, and they're trying to break that portion off because it's not profitable and sell it. And maybe this is part of the trimming the fat process. Who knows? Because
right.
You're already going to take on something that's not doing well. Why are you going to also anchor it with obvious weights?
Right. So yeah, we'll see, man. Like I say, as Joy Behar said, the tide seems to be turning. Right. Just probably not in the way that she was implying.
Yeah, I don't think she's aware of how ironic it would be, right? It'd be ironic if they took Trump. Well, it'd be even more so if you guys were booted the fuck out of the studio.
Right. And isn't it ironic?
You fucking reek.
You're a little too bubonic. And you really do stink. All right. So what's going on with Texas, man?
Well, supposedly, it's an order from Trump, but saying, we were cheated in the last census. And, Democrats hold a lot of seats that they shouldn't due to the counting of illegals, and undocumented foreigners in the previous census. And not to mention like states like Colorado that just basically created a seat they shouldn't even have. But apparently it's cool because, they got it by. So why would we take it away? So the plan is to gerrymander the state to reflect more of the numbers, which we know that, Texas is one of the states that's been blowing up, people fleeing, blue states, high taxes, so on and so on. And they want it to reflect that. But the funniest part is that, it could very well annex out Jasmine Crockett from her own district, which, you're supposed to live in the district that you represent. So there's that payoff immediately that could happen. But of course, then like they usually do, like petulant children, they what they consider a protest, they run off to hide, to break the quorum, so they can't vote on it, and run away to possibly the most gerrymandered state in the fucking country, And now, and you have the governor there ordering that they can't be paid by electronics anymore, that they have to show up in person to get their check. And you have Ken Paxton, of course, there, the AG, trying to get them all arrested, possibly expelled. And they've already put a restraining order on Beto O'Rourke's organization that apparently was bankrolling this whole deal.
I'm trying to see if I could find the video of what's his name, like an old Gavin Newsom,
right, making threats to gerrymander the state even more so. Places like Illinois, where the Democrats only hold a lead of 52 to 48%, yet not a single district is controlled by the GOP. I believe it's Maryland as well, gerrymandered to the point,
right,
to exclude basically all the GOP voters and representatives. Not a single district again controlled by the GOP. I mean, there's states you can just keep going on with: New Jersey, New York, even in the South, I believe it's Louisiana. All of them gerrymandered to the point to where your vote basically doesn't count unless you're in the blue teams.
Right.
Right. It's bad enough that we're stuck with a duopoly, but then, in certain states, and of course, they made the effort nationally to make it a one-party system. It'll be the death of democracy for the GOP to do exactly what the Democrats have been doing for decades.
Oh, you got to the context. Death of our democracy.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And it is a mid-decade, census count, but which is like, unorthodox or whatever, but it has happened previously. And, the governor does have the power to do that shit.
Right. Right. So, yeah, I mean, shit, we'll see how it ends up turning out. But what's the whole thing with, so the Democrats, of course, abandoning their jobs basically, and running off so that way they could avoid the vote, right?
Yeah, they got a estimated $70,000 flight on a private charter jet to Illinois, basically to shirk their duties as if they're not already some of the highest paid to do nothing citizens, right? I mean, highest paid as far as they work about 3 months a year, and they make
Right.
6 figures. So, constantly on recess and break and, so on and so on. But any chance they can to not do work and try to make themselves look, cool for donors, when in reality, they go directly against everything that they portray themselves as standing for. Man.
Right. Well, isn't Ken Paxton looking at getting them removed?
Yeah, he's done filed with the state Supreme Court there to expel him. And, they apparently, got the FBI involved even, to basically come home. You're going to be arrested, man.
Right. Like, the people kind of elected you to do something, man. Who the fuck do you think you are, Joe Biden?
Yeah. And I'm part of the crowd that a lot of the time is like nothing ever happens. And while nothing may come of this ultimately, right? I'm not, coming into it naive. If someone was going to do anything, it would be Ken Paxton. I mean, not only is he a head cracker and has shown that over and over again, but he's going to be running for the Senate. So,
right. Well, let's see. Speaking of cracking heads, of course we'll see what ends up taking place with the whole redistricting thing. But so we'll talk about Attorney General or New York Attorney General Letitia James. Of course, we all know Letitia James for going after Donald Trump for some completely bogus, trumped up charges, and now she's getting her just desserts, so to speak. So I see you got this article here. Slaves. So anti-Trump New York Attorney General Letitia James launches a criminal investigation into federal crimes. I don't think it's death penalty, but I don't know. Like I say, heads could roll. I don't think they're going to, but either way, New York's Democrat Attorney General Letitia James, the criminal Department of Justice, as well as other instances tied to her actions. OJ launched the investigation. Republican right major service that carries severe penalties. The sources confirmed that in an open grand jury has been the Northern District, given that James's office is in Albany and the actions under investigation stem from there. The investigation centers on deprivation of rights. The statute requires an individual acting under control of law to willfully protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. If convicted under this statute, offenders face significant penalties, including life in prison or even the death penalty. For the purposes of Section 242, acts under color of law includes acts not done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority. If the acts are done with the official while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties, the DOJ website states. Persons acting under color of law within the meaning of this statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers in public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus towards the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The news comes on the heels of revelations in May 2025 that James is already under investigation by the FBI for multiple probe underway. The Battle New York 80 finds herself in a long campaign on a platform of targeting, especially random. Anyway, you guys know the story, right? But yeah. So like I said, this could be a ratcheting up by Donald Trump.
Zones.
Yeah, it's a much needed. Like I say, in terms of what was that?
I don't know if it's minor zones or yours. We were coming through really choppy.
I don't know. Seems to be all right now. But yeah. So I mean, shit. Hopefully we'll see Donald Trump start to get into some more actual, dispatching of justice. With a lot of these, the corruption that has taken place over the last decade, here in America, in terms of the war against democracy, right? Which has ultimately just been what the fuck they've been doing the entire time that they're accusing Donald Trump of doing it, because that's kind of their MO. But yeah, what do you think, man? You think Letitia James is going to get the death penalty?
Absolutely not, man. But I'd be happy
Right.
just to see her removed for office and strapped with a triple digit millions like they try to do to the old Trumpsicles and his associates just for political purposes. When here's the exact crime that she tried to come after him for. Apparently she's guilty of as well. You're not hearing anything about that at this point, but
Right.
you want to see this, right? I mean, that was something that, regardless of what anyone liked to say, this is something we voted for. Remember, it was, I'll be your retribution. And,
no retribution.
yeah, there may be some things you might be disappointed over at this point, but, you can solidify the message again by following through, man.
Right. Like I said, dude, that's why like I say, I think that the whole doing the Epstein during the first couple of months was just ripping off the Band-Aid so that way we could fucking move forward real quick. Because you might have overpromised a little bit on that one. Perhaps like I say, it does go a lot deeper. Perhaps this is basically how we keep the world in check. Like I said, we'd be more surprised to find out that our government is not blackmailing fucking foreign leaders and shit like that. Like shit, like what the fuck what the fuck we pay you for? Like what do we have a CIA for if you guys aren't doing this shit? So I mean, like I say, it could go far deeper, and perhaps he was just trying to rip off the Band-Aid. And then now he's going to go ahead and all right, let's put that behind us. Let's go start fucking cracking some skulls and fulfilling some of those promises.
Yeah, and you see that here recent polls that he's losing support with men from what is it, like 26 to 45 or something, and this could be a way to change that trajectory. Seriously, I mean, just show the force that fools wanted to see. We've said it on here repeatedly. We want that bull in the China shop that the left loves to accuse him of being, or the fascists, or what have you. It seems like we need some iron fist to rein shit
This isn't
back
the
in.
fascism I voted for.
Yeah, and that's when people start to get frustrated, and that's when you start seeing, the shit across the inner zones is when we feel it's not happening. And people love to, well, it's only been this time, but how long are you going to say that? You know what I mean? Now it's fucking 7 months in, 8 months in, and they're just going to keep saying that. Pretty soon it's, well, he's only 2 years in. So at this point, you want to see some action. Like there's been action as far as foreign dealings and policies concerned, economics, but you're not seeing, that interior shit that we were promised, and
Right. But
this could kick it all off.
right, didn't he just fucking sign? Have his seventh peace agreement signed since being in office?
Yeah, but none of the ones that we were told would happen. But yeah, I mean, with a lot of the conflicts that the vast majority of us have probably
Right,
never
right,
even fucking knew was going on. You know what I mean? Which I'm not trying to detract. You know what I mean?
right.
However many peace deals like that you can work out,
Yeah,
great. But on the flip side of that, I mean,
yep. I mean,
statistically, dudes
shit,
launched
peace
more airstrikes than
peace
Biden
is
did in
peace,
4
whether
years.
it's yeah. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I mean, shit, fucking peace is peace, man. In terms of whether it's these small countries around the world, whether we have to go ahead and give a little bit of a fucking slap around to some of these other countries to start to get them back in line. I mean, ultimately, if the United States is the world police and the fucking boot and shit like that, you're like, fuck it, actually do it in a way that actually brings about peace, not in ways that just bring about profit.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I mean, like I said, I'm America first, always have been, and I want shit to change here. It's all great, all this stuff. It's good for his legacy. It's good for the image of
Right.
America's abilities, so on and so forth. But I want to make life better for Americans.
Right. Which I do believe that we can be doing with these tariffs, because of course these tariffs are, of course it is going to slow up a lot of the trade, or it is going to, cause ultimately somebody at the top is going to have to eat that tariff, whether it's the country that's, shipping them out by lowering their price. So that way it could cover the tariff on the importer here, or whether it's just the importer that's going to, well, I guess I have to pay, this, X amount of percentage more. And then they're going to have to eat that, or of course it's going to get passed on to the consumer at one point, which ultimately, when it gets passed down to the consumer, is going to incentivize more domestic production, which again is going to end up helping the American peoples. But ultimately, the way that we're able to do that and to be able to complete these deals and stuff like that is by reigniting trust in the American government, because at least in terms of geopolitics abroad, because ultimately if we're just going to continue down the same path that we've been doing, saying one thing, doing another, you either fall in line or we're going to fucking topple your government, basically just the way that our government's been for the past 80 years. If we're going to continue down that path, I don't see why the rest of the world wouldn't say, you know what, fuck you guys. We're going to create our own fucking currency. We're going to create our own fucking, trade system. Like, and you guys aren't invited, which I don't see that going over too well militarily. But ultimately, like I say, I think the best way to get these sort of favorability among other countries towards trade with America is going to be by building that trust. And the way that you build that trust is by showing the rest of the world, like, look, we're here to bring peace. We're not here to that's the old America. We're trying to move forward. We're not trying to just be in endless constant wars and conflicts around the world. Like, we just want peace, trade, prosperity.
In that case, like, I mean, okay, like say, you're supporting the tariff situation for the reasons that you just stated, right? But at the same time, like India, for instance, he just worked out, a trade deal with them and set a tariff, but then he finds out that they've bought oil from Russia. So now what's supposed to be an ally a country, which, don't get me wrong, again, that's have no support for other countries, but he's using it as a political weapon now, where he's just upped the tariffs after signing a trade deal with them 50% because they bought oil from Russia. You know what I mean? And so again, so that's one of the countries that's trying to start an alternate economy, right? In BRICS. And then you're trying to bring them into the fold, but then at the same time, fucking stabbing them in the gut because they're purchasing oil from one of their stated trade partners. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to assume that that's going to give other countries trepidations because they're going to be like, look, well, if you sign a deal with them, they're just going to renege on it if they don't like something you do with someone else. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Right.
what's your feelings on it being used that way?
Well, again, like I said, I don't agree with it, necessarily being used that way, but I do see the value that does bring about, because ultimately, yes, we bring about peace through strength.
But
And
is it a
that,
trade negotiation tool? Is it leverage? Is it a trade balance, or
I,
is
I,
it a
I
political
think it's
weapon? You know?
I think it's you could buy your crack from the Bloods, or you could buy your crack from the Crips, but you ain't buying it from both. I think that's what it is. I think it's fucking, this is our fucking territory. You're going to trade with us or you're going to trade with our enemies. That's, it's not going to be both. You can't have it both ways, And I think that's
At that
ultimately, like I
same
say,
time, you
it's
got to
Trump cracking a whip. It's
you got to
it's
like
veiling his iron
India's
fist with velvet.
India's over 1 billion people though. Any trade
Mhm.
deal you're going to work with America that's 350 million at best is very well not going to be able to be at the standard they need for that many people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about how much fucking energy it
Right.
takes to feed, house, and have lights and so on for over 1 billion fucking people. And we don't produce the shit for that. You know what I'm saying? So they're just supposed to limit themselves and go without because you signed a trade deal with America. Like to me, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't even have support for India. I mean,
Right.
to be honest, it is backhanded to be like, hey, okay, we're going to sign a deal with you, but we're also going to trade with your fucking political and geopolitical adversaries. You know what I mean? Like I understand, but at the same time, you brought them into the fold knowing that they're part of BRICS. Like what I mean? They've stated out loud, we're going to trade with these people. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Well, like I say, I don't necessarily agree with the method, but nonetheless, I mean, Donald Trump's not necessarily known for being, the most orthodox, but somehow his stuff that he implements seems to work out. It seems to work out for the most part. So I mean, like I said, it's not the route that I would take, but I do see the strategy behind it. In the basically, Donald Trump's a businessman and he's going to impose upon this trade deal, and he's going to make sure that he gets the favorable outcome. He's not going to try and not concede anything if he can. And I think ultimately, again, forcing somebody that's trying to say that they're our allies to not trade with our enemies is, again, I think that's the aim that he's going for. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do believe that that's what he's trying to do with a lot of these trade tariffs. And a lot of them are coming with stipulations involved that aren't necessarily related to anything economic. They're related to things that are political.
Can you imagine if it was for real, just economics and commerce rather than political entanglements, man? I mean,
Right.
We could trade with Russia and India. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want the world powers to be able to conduct commerce. And, because of
Right.
politics and, previous administrations web weaving, here we are.
Right. Ultimately, I think, yeah, like I said, I mean, and it's not the route that I would take. Ultimately, I would prefer to just have, like, fuck it. Let's just everybody trade, if you feel like you're getting fucked over here, put a tariff on them, everybody just, do your own thing. But I ultimately think that, again, the reason that we've lived in such prosperity for so long is because we have been, the world power for quite some time. And I think that, grasp is slipping. And especially if we don't, like I say, clench down on the world, ultimately we're going to end up losing that. I don't think we're going to be at the top of the food chain anymore. And I think that's what Donald Trump fears. I don't think he's just like, well, we need to, revive culture and shit like that. You think he's ultimately thinking in dollars and cents at the end of the day too.
Yeah, you try to lock everything in to oust China is what it is, man, because that's our main economic competitor.
Right.
And they try to unbalance the fucking wheel as much as possible. And the way to skirt that obviously is to have agreements laid out and abided by by every country possible. You know, but I said, you know, I understand, you know, both sides. Like, you know, obviously, like I said, I'm not taking India's side on the matter, but at the same
Right.
time, you know, you got to call out shadiness, you know?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, like I say, it's definitely not the route that I would like to take with America, but ultimately, neither is the last 80 years. You know.
Right. On 8/8, we got to remember, right? He said 80 years, the liberal world order, man. What did Patton tell you? I fear we fought on the wrong side, gentlemen.
Right. Yep. And now all our fucking kids are fucking have blue hair dye and they're cutting their fucking wieners off.
Yeah,
Son of a
McCarthy was
bitch.
crazy and needed to be ousted, man. But lo and behold, the cultural Marxism is all about.
Right. It's almost like you could have seen this coming. How did we not, man? Shit. I don't
I
even
just want
remember
to
how we
say,
ended up
dude,
getting
Ron
on
Paul was fucking right about everything, not just economics, not just the war shit, but everything.
blowback, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. But oh yeah, actually, yeah, there you go.
Fuck yeah, Saint Ron.
Right. But yeah, man. So you know, like I say, it's Donald Trump seems like he's starting to get in a bit of an MO in this new administration. And again, his first administration, he was trying to be a part of the system. He wasn't trying to fucking change the system that dramatically. He was trying to be just a fucking regular running president. He was trying number 45 and that's it, and he was basically obstructed at every single turn. And so ultimately I think this administration is shaped by the events of the past, of his past administration, and of course the Biden years. And I think that I think we lost him, but ultimately, yes, I think that Donald Trump's presidency has been shaped by the past what is it, 10 years. And I think that basically he's just this is the new Donald J. Trump. Not necessarily new. I don't know. I mean, perhaps this was always kind of his vision or something like that. But nonetheless, this is the Trump that has been created. Like I said, I think ultimately during his first term, he was just trying to be, the 45th president. That was his plan. And then based off of everything that happened, the Biden years and everything since, he's gotten his new modus operandi, and it's basically he's not giving a fuck. He's going to completely reshape trade. He's going to completely reshape everything. He's going to fucking roll some fucking heads, get rid of the corruption. Make examples of people. Set precedent, and I think that's what's going on here.
And he will be Supergoy.
Right.
Supergoy.
Yeah. There's also that.
I just got to throw that tidbit out there, man. I know we weren't going to cover it tonight, but you got to throw that in, dude. I mean, as far as anyone, like I was saying, if you're disappointed or what have you, the ultimate, betrayal and, disappointment to me is the recent chatter out of the White House that they're going to withhold emergency funds, disaster funds from states that protest or deny tax dollars to Israel. And, you remember when Biden was in office and it came out that FEMA was withholding aid for homes that had Trump signs and whatnot. And it was, meltdown and, we got to stop these monsters. You know what I'm saying? But when Trump does it, apparently it's supposed to be acceptable in favor of a foreign country. You know what I'm saying? That's not America first, man. That's my main disappointment with Trump. There's things that, we could talk on that I may not agree with or what have you, but ultimately I've, been on board pretty hard. And, here recently the mask come off, man. I mean, you're not MAGA unless you support Israel, right? MAGA.
Right. Yep. I still think, ultimately it's basically Donald Trump trying to keep our strategic, section in the Middle East. I don't necessarily think that Donald Trump himself is controlled by Israel, but I do think that he's very infatuated with them. You know, I do think that he's you know, it's his near and dear to his. As of course, he's always been in support of Israel. You know, as you mentioned. You know, but yeah, it's definitely not cool, man. To not kosher, as they would say, to
Right.
withhold certain emergency funds, things like that. To basically states that don't agree with you ideologically.
And I know even the "you're not MAGA" shit. I know I spent a lot of time fucking trying to stump for the full. Made thousands of videos and clips. Talked so many hours on live streams and videos. Ostracized by friends and family. Lost social media pages, so on and so on. In support of the dude. And then months in to the second administration, you're not really with me if you're not with this fucking foreign entity that plots for your particular fucking people's downfall, dude. Like, fuck, man. Greatest ally America has is Japan. Fucking changed my mind, dude. Any conflict we've been in, they're the first country to send troops and support every fucking time. Not Israel, not even Israel with the wars that they fucking coax us into. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and we're not trying to make it the fucking Groiper channel or nothing, but the noticing will continue regardless of fucking what anybody feels, man. And even the noticing, right, will get you fucked. Will get you fucked with. I mean, my shit's filled with private messages pretty regularly. You know what I mean? I think your racism's anti-Semites. Like I give two shits, bud.
Well, yeah, but right. I've been recently looking into the concept of dispensationalism, in Christianity, because I go to a church that is basically kind of 50-50 on it. There's some that do believe that Israel's the chosen people and that Israel shall rise again, and that the promises made were the promises that were going to be kept from now and forevermore, and there's two sides to it. So I've been looking into that a little bit, and I do think, man, a lot of that is what really kind of gives way to this whole what people seem to believe here in America. As of course we saw with fucking Ted Cruz, they're quoting Genesis and shit like that, I will bless those who bless Israel,
Right.
And so I do think a lot of it really has to do with the ideologies taking place here in America.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, long ingrained, right? And it's insane because what is it? The Synagogue of Satan, right? They were the chosen BC, right? Unchosen 1 AD, right? To 1948. 1948, the chosen's agains. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is
Right.
the people of Israel are not Israeli. They're Khazarian and so on and so forth. And even there's people that keep track of this shit.
Fucking imposters.
Yeah, Josh Hopkins, I think, right? The medical center even put something out that's saying 96% of their DNA is not the original Israelis, man. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, like I say, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that would point to that, Of course, a lot of people would point to like Romans chapter 11, where it basically says that, that Israel is still there, God's chosen people, the branches that were cut off could easily be grafted back in just as easy as you that were a while you grafted in, much easier could the original branches be grafted back in. But ultimately, it's not saying that Israel fucking shall always be blessed forever. It's basically saying you have a fucking choice. You either continue.
It's talking about people. It's not talking about a landmass.
Right. Yeah, like I said, that's the other thing that's been lost for a long time. And of course, like I say, a lot of it really is become imposters. It's just people that are using it for the advantages. Yeah.
I mean, Yahoo's Polish. You know what I mean?
Right. You don't see fucking any of the Jewish people actually taking part in anything beyond like prayer and things like that. But I mean, if they don't believe that the sacrifice was once and for all, then they should be sacrificing in temple. They should be working on rebuilding the temple. Which of course they are, just for some reason, something always gets in the way and they're never able to do it for thousands of years. I wonder what that might be that's, stopping them from trying to relive old glory days from, back when, they had power, because they were the chosen people, and, yeah, it's rather curious stuff, but ultimately I do think that, the current nation of Israel is more or less just kind of imposters, just using the name of Israel for the theological connotations that it carries.
And the racial cudgel. You know what I'm saying? And you get into all the backlog. You know what I mean? I mean, the ball, the children, the child sacrifices, the fact that they found, different burial grounds throughout, previous Israeli fucking territory that had tens of thousands of fucking children's bodies. And I mean, you could just keep going with these cats, right? I mean, you got Dennis Prager himself telling you every ism, the transism, communism, socialism, it's all invented by the juice boxes. And, you hate to say it, but, even capitalism, which was, their one true good fucking thing, right? To bring to the fucking earth, I guess. It's lifted more people out of the dirt than anything else. But even that has been, twisted and, turned into something that only benefits a small group, which they just happen to be sitting at the top of. Coincidentally, and you're anti for noticing.
Right. All right. So I think we should get off this topic before we get,
the juice box too.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, ultimately I do think that that's it's ultimately going to be our stumbling fucking block. It's going to be not necessarily stumbling block. It's going to be what fucks us up, in the end,
It's going to be the GOP's fucking grasp and defeat from the jaws of victory, man.
Right. Yep. It's like I say, it's our Achilles heel,
Achilles
can't. We're just such good peoples. I'm sure there's no financial incentive involved there. It's all theological and spiritual.
Let's talk about the Federal Reserve. We talk about the Warburg family that's closely associated with the Rothschilds, and you had one in Germany, one in the United States that rallied for the Fed and was the assistant chair for the first 4 years of its inception. And we know about 1910? They met on Jekyll Island, and any resistance to that movement was taken out during the Titanic. And shortly thereafter, the Federal Reserve was incepted. You just go on with the whole spiel and shit. How did someone let something reckless like this pass? That's
right.
Not federal, nor does it hold reserves. Well, it was December 23rd, and everyone was home for Christmas at that point.
It's cold stuff, man.
Rounds balls 101, dude.
All right. That's why busiest time of the year is fucking Christmas and at the in Congress. Nobody's gonna be there. We're gonna push some shit through, motherfucker.
Right.
We're working overtime.
Yeah, the best time to push unpopular fucking shit through.
Yep.
I don't know how we spun off into that either. I thought we were talking about Texas and fucking some shit, but gerrymandering.
Oh no,
I don't even know.
No, we got past the gerrymandering. we were onto Leticia James, and that got us onto Trump changing his direction, starting to crack some skulls.
But it's not just him, of course. You've seen what is his name? Ed Martin. That's who Bondi's put on the case to investigate not only James but Adam fucking Schiff. Which, you love to see. I mean,
right.
These people have cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars just in false accusations, prosecutions. We know that Adam Schiff has been censored, removed from the Intel committee, all this kind of shit, blatantly lied, went across the talk show circuit to say that he has, undisputed evidence that's going to put Trump schools away forever, right? Prove treason and whatnot, but you see sitting in the White House, but Schiff got a promotion as well because the people in California are extremely unwell, And you want to see that if any lizard is gonna get their fucking comeuppance, fuck, let it be that guy.
Right. Yep.
He always looks like he just sucked on a lemon.
Right. Fucking weirdo, man. But I mean, shit, another thing that Pam Bondi's doing is this right here. So she upped the price from $25 million to $50 million on the head of one Nicolas Maduro, the leader or president, whichever way you choose to say it, of Venezuela, home of Tren de Aragua. So, of course, and we'll check out the video real quick, then we'll give our thoughts on it.
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. To date, the DEA has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of income for the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives. The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million. Under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice, and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. If you have any information to bring this criminal to justice, call 1-202-307-4228.
If you or anybody you know has seen Nicolas Maduro, give us a call. The fuck am I? You think he's fucking hiding out like at a fucking crack house or something, and fucking somewhere in the middle of America? Like, who the fuck is gonna call? Like, yeah. But ultimately, man,
you'd hope people under his fucking reign of terror, man. Especially you got them people there starving, eating zoo animals. $50 million to change their whole fucking bloodline. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, at the same time, he's supposed to be the fucking leader of Venezuela. Like, wouldn't he be like at wherever the fuck their capital is? Like, what? Have you guys checked there? Right. But at the same time, I think a lot of it is because, of course, he's the leader. It's not like we could go over there and just fucking take their leader. That'd be a pretty heinous thing.
We could, but
we obviously
cry about it,
right? We could, but like I say, the optics wouldn't play over well. So I do think that a lot of this really is just kind of a bit of a formality in order to get, of course, Venezuela listed as a foreign national enemy, right? Or basically a foreign terrorist nation. And so in which case we are able to go ahead and boom, quick fucking trial, get your ass out of here. If you're from Venezuela, you're getting fucking deported immediately. So I think that has a little bit to do with it, which of course I'm fine with. Like, yep, totally on board with it. Of course, the things that they are alleging may or may not be true. I don't know, but it's not like it's beyond the realm of belief. I mean, a lot of these fucking Central and South American countries are very, very corrupt. So I mean, it's not like it's beyond the possibility. So I think that's what's taking place here.
Yeah, but I think like you said, it's pretty hilarious. They know where he's at, and I think that this chick is fucking worthless. She's just there for the camera. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Just read the script, lady.
Yep, she's a pretty hot old chick, but I don't think she should have been put in this position to begin with. We stated as much, back when the nomination first came after the Gates, after he decided to call it a day, and she hasn't done shit but run her fucking mouth on camera. As far as I'm concerned. And the previous things that we were talking about, Schiff and James, domestic shit. If she could actually pull that stuff off, you totally redeemed yourself. But at this point, that's not the case.
All right. It is kind of funny, dude. Like she's from Florida, of course, dude. She has like kind of like the same energy as Ron DeSantis. You know what I mean? Like when he's
But
yeah, let's get hyped up, guys. Okay, we're gonna do this. Like, she's got the same energy as Ron DeSantis, you know.
unfortunately, Christie already stole the name for fucking Marco Rubio. But yeah, Roboto would be it. Pam
Right.
Roboto, man.
Right. Just like, and anything you put on the teleprompter, Bondi will read. All right. Oh man.
It seems the only time she's kind of more at ease is when she's at Fox, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's her home away from home, so she's like, totally comfortable and shit.
Right, lets her
Hey,
hair
Jesse,
down
how
and
you doing,
everything.
Bobby?
Coming in fucking slapping fives and shit. It's good, man.
Yeah. Everybody
Has
knows
kids.
your name.
Right. Yeah, good old Fox News. Right? Don't get us wrong. They're just as much a fucking propaganda as fucking CNN or MSNBC.
Exactly.
They're no better than any of them. Just because they put on this right wing persona doesn't mean that they actually fucking are on your side. Are actually there to report the facts. They're reading scripts just as much as everybody else.
They're paid tens of millions, or at least millions, depending on the personality. But to do so. So why the fuck wouldn't you? You know what I mean? The vast majority of anyone, if they, if someone ran up on them like, yo, they would, we like the way you look and the way you present yourself. We'll give you $20 million. All you got to do is come read a script, fucking 5 days a week. No problem, son. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you understand, but yeah, I mean, do you wonder if they realize that they're just a propaganda mouthpiece? And, they got two good personalities. I like Jesse and I like, a Greg Gutfeld, but, it's not anything that I watch. Like I don't have cable, nothing like that. I see clips on the inner zones like everyone else, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, that's basically what everybody watches nowadays. I mean, the whole.
And let's not forget who was the first fucking network that called 2020 against Trumpsicles, man. Right? Like the View just told you he was their creation, but they were the first ones to be like, nope, he lost. You can't ask questions.
Right. Don't even question. If you do, we'll sue
you. or we'll get sued and we'll throw you under the bus, even though you're the highest fucking rated personality on all of our networks combined.
Right. It's funny that, with everything going on with like The View and Stephen Colbert and all these fucking people and shit like that, nobody's fucking, making the comparison to Tucker Carlson, who got fucking railroaded over the Dominion voting fucking systems thing. You got pulled from Fox News, and rumor has it that it was because it was part of a stipulation involving the lawsuit that Fox News had to pay out to Dominion. But nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if he's making that kind of money anymore. Rumor is his contract was something like $25 million this season. But fuck, massive dollars, right? But he gets way more views now. It's just I don't know. I don't think the pay would be the same. I could be wrong. Maybe it comes from his advertisements and X. Fuck, I don't know. Rumble surely can't be paying that much. Their fucking stock this never goes up. If it does, it's change.
Right. And at the same time, I mean, dude, like he could just be a simple man now, like he's got fucking what he needs.
He says he's always been.
Yeah, like I'm sure he's got plenty of money in the bank. Like I'm sure he's probably just like making videos now, like fucking just sitting back, like doing interviews and just like doing what he loves to do, just for the love of it, not necessarily to try and build anything or get rich or anything. I'm pretty sure he's just comfortable now, just sitting back and being the Tucker Carlson show,
Yeah, I'm sure he's enjoying life for sure. It's almost like semi-retirement, dude, because the vast majority of guests are, they come to his house. I mean, there's only a few episodes where he's somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good situation. It's something most everyone would love to be in for sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's honestly what I think's going on with Tucker Carlson. I think he's just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna be Tucker Carlson. I ain't trying to fucking be out there and I don't know if I can promote and do all this stuff. Like, if you want to see Tucker Carlson, you know where to find me. You know.
Do you? I mean, I don't know. How everyone thinks of the show, but I actually think it's pretty fucking good. Regardless of how you feel about the dude, I mean, he's a good interviewer, and he's
Right.
got good guests and covers a wide range of topics. I mean, today's episode was, religious aspects. You know what I mean? It was pretty good shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen much of him lately. I've just been really kind of watching the clips. Just, I don't know. I just haven't really watched too many of them lately. I got my usual lineup that I do, I guess. But yeah, dude, like I say, he's always been really good at interviews. I like a lot of the ones that he does. Everyone was starting to give him shit. Just recently, now that fucking things are going bad with the deals with Putin, and they were like, oh, he's over there being a propaganda mouthpiece for Putin and shit like that. Like, it's like you guys were supporting it while he was doing it, because it was fucking showing the reality that is going on in Russia as opposed to Ukraine, which of course everybody took it as I'm sure fucking Russia wasn't coming around. The government of Russia wasn't taking Tucker Carlson and showing him their fucking slums and shit like that. Like, of course they were showing him their nicest shit, So yeah, it's everybody took it as like, okay, it's Russia and they're trying to push some propaganda on America, but nonetheless, it was a really good interview. And now fucking all the these neocons and shit like that starting to like, oh, he was a Putin mouthpiece the whole time, and yep.
Ridiculous, man. I mean, a lot of the establishment held that dude up as a hero for fucking years.
Right.
And then you conduct an interview with someone that they don't agree with, and now you're on their side. It's like fucking asinine. It's the meme, just in reverse. How it's usually the left, like, why are you siding with them? And they push them over on that side, and it's like, come on, buddy, But it's like the opposite fucking scenario, man. The GOP is just fucking losers, bro. I mean, they're do nothing at this point. There's two members that I have true fucking faith in, for any amount, and that's of course Massey and MTG, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even fucking Rand has been pretty squishy here for a minute,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, dude, I'll be honest, like I said, I've gotten pretty fucking jaded over the whole fucking politics and everything, and dude, like, it's just like, fuck, man, just day after day, just fucking game after game after fucking mind game after, like, oh, look at this, oh, now look at this, we sprinkle a little of this back in here, oh, remember when we were talking about this, like, it's
propaganda, psyop, fucking soundbite, repeat.
Right, it gets exhausting sometimes, like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been fucking paying attention still, still, like, obviously, we still see what's going on and shit like that throughout the week. But dude, I've been really kind of just focusing on, like home and fucking, life and family and God and all that stuff,
Yeah, I mean, that's what's best for you, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But yeah, a lot of it fucking also does fucking stem from this isn't the fascism I voted for,
Yeah. Just for sure disappointments.
Mhm.
And it does get fucking, it's fatigue, really. And it's easy to fall into the, ignorance is bliss, man. Really, if you're not paying attention, you just live your life. Things really don't change for you.
Right. Yep. It's of course, I guess not necessarily ignorance as much as blinders or bliss, It's like I know what's going on over there. I just ain't looking, Like, I think that's probably better for society at this fucking point, Say, how about let's just, let's understand what's taking place here. Let's stop fucking hoping and fucking wishing and thinking that we're gonna vote in a whole new fucking world and shit,
Yeah, I mean, again though, it's easy to get lulled into that, false sense of complacency. It's it's easy to get put back to sleep, basically.
Right.
Too easy, and it sucks. Like you said, fatigue, like especially political, is fucking real. I mean, and like we talked before, I mean, I've been fucking with this shit since 2011. Like, I delegated for Ron Paul. You know what I'm saying? Countless fucking books and debates and interzone battles, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's long COVID.
Right. Yeah, shit. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to none of it. You know, I'm guilty as charged as being one of the fucking, you know, the ignorant fucking sheeple, you know, running around just, you know, fucking chasing my own tail and being fucking dumb, you know, for the sake of it, just living my life, bro. You know, just doing
It's
me.
good though. Like you said though, that's good though. It's good to unplug, man.
When you're a young man, yeah, you know, but of course there's a lot of people my age that still have not fucking grown past that. You know, they never, you know, just like, you know what, this is stupid. All these people around me, you guys are fucking stupid. Like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna fucking stop being stupid. You know, like that's the realization I came to, and a lot of people my age, I look around and I see a lot of them have not come to that. You know, a lot of my
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
generation is still the people out there like fucking, you know, Donald Trump's gonna kill us all. You know, like. Yeah, every time I hop on Facebook, like, because, you know, ever since, you know, COVID and all that stuff, I haven't fucking really scrolled Facebook at all. Like, I fucking, that's when I started really, you know, paying attention, looking into what's going on, you know, studying history, studying, you know, social structures, you know, studying, you know, politics, studying, you know, power, basically. And, yeah, that's when, you know, everything really kind of changed, you know, and I was just like, fucking A, dude. So I look back at my Facebook now, and it's still all the same people that I had from, you know, back in my 20s and my, you know, teenage years and stuff like that. And, fucking A, dude, they're fucking dumb, man. Like, you guys are fucking idiots, man. Like, what the
Right.
fuck's wrong with you?
We
You
grew
know?
up together, dude. What the fuck?
Right.
It's weird. I know.
Fucking A, dude, we used to hang out, man. Like, I smoked weed with you, bro.
It ruins everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you listen, even music. I was just talking to my wife about that earlier, man. Like, music is destroyed for me, bro. You know, if you don't pay attention, you just jam to the beat and vibe, you're good. But as soon as you pay attention to any of the message or what's being said, if there is any substance, it's usually fucked up and sick shit. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Even like when I was young, Rage Against the Machine was the shit. You know what I'm saying? And now, as a grown ass man, like I hear their shit, and all I hear is communist drivel, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's ruined entertainment. I mean, you know, even some older things from like a decade ago, we like to think like the wokeism didn't kick in until, you know, maybe 2016, 17 or something. But you watch something from, you know, 11, 12 years ago, and it was already starting. Like everything's fucked. It's like the Matrix. Like all I see is ones and zeros at this point, man. You know what I mean? That's what it boils down to.
Right. Yeah, I saw this video the other day. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. It was just a random like clip that I found, but yeah, I can't find it. But yeah, I forgot what I was even gonna go with it about, but it was just some fucking like weirdo like rapper, like my pronouns are she, her. Like they're doing like you know, honestly, like the flow was nice and everything, but the message was absolutely fucking abhorrent, you know? Like it was like, yeah, like, yeah, my voice is deep, but I'm still a girl. Like, you know, like like I say, it had good flow to it. The rhymes they were tight, but like, once you realize the context and shit like that, it's like, oh fucking A, man, like this is bad, you know?
Yeah, you know, so like dumb shit. Like you know, all the what I forgot the name of the song that fucking all the kids with the fucking pumped up kicks, right? Same thing. It's like a vibe tune. Are you partying? You're smoking. You know what I mean? It's good.
Dude,
Jam,
I used to fucking party to that song all the
Right.
time, bro.
Right, and then you actually listen to it. It's fucking horrible.
Right. Yeah. I have some memories to that song, and that was fucking during my teen to early 20 days. You know, those were
That's what I
days,
mean.
bro.
Shit you think was, you know, all right from years ago. Now you realize, like, fuck, dude.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I still got all my, you know, my playlists and stuff like that from, you know, way back when. And you know, a lot of the stuff it you know, I listen to, I do notice a lot more of a you know, sacrilegious tint to it, because of course I used to be very much a very sacrilegious person, you know, and so I start to notice it a lot more, you know, nowadays. But yeah, fucking yeah, things definitely change the older you get, or they're supposed to. You know, they're supposed to, you know, but for a lot of people that's not the case.
Yeah, so I still got playlists too, you know what I mean? Shuffle it a lot. And it's to the point now, even like most, you know, like I used to dig rap, obviously, right? I grew up in Detroit, man. And, you know, fucking, you know, grew up when rap was just exploding onto the scene, basically, and I can't even listen to most of it anymore. Like it comes on, I just skip the shit, bro. Like it's fucking, terrible
Right.
message, regardless of how the groove is.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Fucking terrible fucking morals. And then we wonder how we got to this point,
Yeah.
Fucking,
And
like,
then you look back like Tipper Gore, and they did the explicit lyrics on albums and stuff, and everyone was, this is fascism that's against the First Amendment is. And in reality, now that you see, the effects that that it's had on culture, what it's brought to the forefront and what's been celebrated and held up as inspirational or heroic, and it's just ass backwards for any kind of productive fucking society, man. I mean, maybe the goons were right. Fuck.
how much
to
of it,
look back? Go ahead.
I was going to say, how much of it do you think breaks down to, you should either censor things, how much, what do you think works best for a society and culture? Do you think censoring things that are, explicitly, bad and, bad for society, bad for people's psychiatric, health, for their conscience, for everything really? Or do you think we should push or help uplift and support and things like that, things that have a good message, basically good propaganda, things that support family and be doing the right thing and working hard, all that type of stuff? Or do you think that basically it should just be upon the people to build a solid foundation for their families, and that they should give their kids a good solid moral compass, so that way they could understand the difference between right and wrong, and the things that are to avoid and the things that are that should not be avoided, because everybody needs their freedom. Like we shouldn't infringe on people's freedom to express themselves pornographically and whatnot. So I mean, ultimately you should just teach your kids to not look at it. Meanwhile, I'm going to shake this right in your face. Like what do you think it is more valuable, or do you think maybe it's a combination of all of them?
That's what I was going to say. It has to be a hybrid of all the above, man. Of course, the liberty-minded side of myself, you want an open society, freedoms of speeches, which is great for adults. You know what I'm saying? I believe in censorship for the benefit of society and our children, and it's not like like they always use the children as the reason to, I mean, legit, your kids shouldn't be seeing fucking porn and, hearing bitches and hoes and let's sell cocaine. And I realize that now from my own life experiences with myself, having kids, and you know what I mean? And, seeing the repercussions firsthand, family, yada, yada. And so it's definitely got to be that. But at the same time, you want to live in a free society. So, an adult, 21 and over, fuck, do whatever the fuck you want to do, as long as you're not infringing or taking from others, right? But there should also be some kind of accountability. I mean, like, if you subject your children to that and they become deviants as a repercussion, then you, as long as they're underage, you're going to be charged whatever crimes or whatever they do to commit, And like I said, so it's got to be a combination. It really does.
Right.
But at that same time, you do want freedom of the press and information to be readily available. But there's nothing wrong. Like propaganda can be used for good, as far as nationalism. You know what I'm saying? And civic pride and aspirational aspects. Like you want your societies to succeed. Like the whole the body shaming bullshit, right? That you can be healthy at any size stuff, the Lizzo
Right.
doing the Sweeney ad, like that's not aspirational, regardless of what any leftist fucking kook or blue-haired bitch wants to tell you. You know what I mean? Like that's not good for children to see, man.
I will say though, in terms of Lizzo, it is something positive to see for the people that are really fucking gigantically obese. Because of course, still give her credit, she has lost a lot of weight. Nonetheless, she is still fucking gigantic.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the ad, is whatever, is funny, and not like offended or anything like that. But
I'm not offended either. I mean, I'm
right.
disgusted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But in terms of being something of a positive influence, I think toward the people that are gigantic and just like, oh, I could lose weight too, that might give them inspiration, or it's just going to send them into, she probably got surgery.
Ozempics.
Right.
Right? You're gonna see her in a pair of glasses soon. You see,
Right.
right? They're saying now is one of the now one of the known long term effects of Ozempic is deterioration of the eyes. So
Right. Good times, man.
right. But I mean, I could see as far as that's concerned. You could say, look, you guys can do it too if you're gonna
Right.
twist it in that fashion. But that she doesn't even roll like that. It's not even like that. It doesn't matter what size she is. She's out there like I'm a bad bitch. Like you're
Right.
fucking jelly rolls us. And we've both spoke on previously. I mean, shame is a virtue, man. You know what I mean? And needs to be brought back with fucking force. And
He's also been
that goes hand in hand with the selective censorship because then fucking Riris that have a disgusting message tend to self-censor at that point because they know they're going to be publicly shamed and no one's going to come to their side and ban the person or remove them or what have you.
I was gonna say, didn't she just like tell us like a couple months ago that she was like gonna shut the fuck up for finally? Like, didn't she tell us that she was like leaving, the public sphere, like she was leaving, like the public opinion sphere, things like that, like a couple months ago, and then of
It
course,
was some like like really random post. I think that she was just
right,
like,
like
I'm done, yada
for my
yada.
mental health and shit.
Yeah, but who knows what she meant by that? And she ain't gonna
Right.
go nowhere. I mean, dude.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, ultimately, regardless of what we feel, obviously she's doing something right. She's gone on tours and she played a 200-year-old glass flute. And, that belonged to one of the
working.
founders. Disgusting in a fucking thong or whatever. I don't think it was supposed to be a thong. It was just so much fucking
It was
yuck.
supposed to be a fucking bed sheet when they released it.
Right. Yeah, it's a burial shroud. But it's fucking it's not fun to look at and not a good message for kids. Even if
Right.
you want to go, well, what about the chunky kids that need someone to look up? They should, again, aspirational. They
Right.
don't. I mean, I'm not talking about shaming kids and stuff. I'm talking about give them something to want to be rather than fucking. It's okay to be fucking giant and unhealthy. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, somebody that is a better role model and is a segue into our next topic, the man, the myth, the legend, Senior Big Balls.
Who's got big balls?
We've got big balls. Yeah, I mean, the song's been stuck in my head all week because of this guy, man. Right? It's like,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's
Earn the moniker for real.
that's a flex right there, man. So, yeah, of course, the Doge employee known as Big Balls was attacked by a pack of less fortunate people. Let's put it that way. Yeah, this took place in Washington D.C., I believe, and what was it? He's they're trying to carjack him, and so he pushed his girlfriend into the car, and then ended up just taking a beating until I don't know, did a police officer come break it up, something like that?
I don't know. I heard it was like a chick that they were trying to rob a chick, and that he pushed his girlfriend in the ride and ran over to help her.
Oh,
And
okay,
then,
maybe that's
and then they commenced to whip on him, like 3 of them, and then they took off as law enforcement was approaching or something.
right. Nonetheless, heroic actions, whether
Yeah.
which way you put it, but yeah, I'm not too sure, but let's go ahead and read this statement from Donald Trump. So one Donald J. Trump says, crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some of 14 and 15 and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens at the same time, knowing they will be almost immediately released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together, and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control over the city and run this city how it should be run, and put criminals on notice that they are not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. All right. So, what's your thoughts on the federalization of DC?
I think you should do it. I
Right.
think it's always should. I think only Democrats are the ones that try to make it not so and want it to give it statehood so they can gain more seats. Of course, any way to cheat. But yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a federal fucking territory. The one and only, actually. The federal government was never supposed to be able to own land except for DC. I mean, although we are where we are now. But dude, like you said, fucking what a story, man. Oh, big balls, dude. Hero fucking for real. I mean, this dude's not only a super genius, but he's obviously someone that doesn't take shit. And now, regardless if we think he just earned that, I mean, obviously that name came from somewhere that people could have known this was this dude the whole time, right? But proud of the boa, but I don't agree with locking kids up for fucking long times at the age of 15.
Right.
I think I think that there is certain heinous crimes that you should be charged as an adult. I'm surely not a leftist. Like, let's smack them on the wrist. I think that like I was saying earlier, parents should be being held accountable for juveniles' actions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not that the juvenile shouldn't be punished, but the major deterrent should be through the parents. And something's got to give. And the only people that you've seen be jailed for the actions of their juvenile are white fucking people, man. And you don't want to make it racial, but it seems to always boil down to that, right? And like the shooter in Michigan, right? That kid, his parents are locked up. They got years in fucking prison. But you see other instances. I can't even remember the kid that fucking met that stab. What was his name? Metcalf, right? That kid's done nothing but raise fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars for shanking a kid at a fucking track meet, dude. You know what I mean? And the parents are living it up, driving Escalades and shit. So I mean, there should that should change, and that you might be surprised how fast things turn around when it's basically like forcing the fucking father to be in the house. Like, dude, your kid's out committing crimes, whether you live there or not. Now you're going to prison, son.
Right. I think that we've let this play out long enough that we could identify what the majority of the problems that are taking place are. And,
it's the Blazes.
Right, man. I mean, in terms of, like just the things that are promoted within society, again, as we were talking about, censorship, good messaging, and a solid foundation. Those are all things that are completely lacking within the Black culture here in America. And, I think we could really kind of address those. And I think that's going to, at least help, to an extent. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a generation or two. But ultimately, I think it's really just, we need some of that good propaganda, rather than just locking people up at, 14, 15, shit like that. Again, not saying slap on the wrist either or anything. But ultimately, I think that, I don't know, that just the whole process really just
you
kind
gotta
of
start with the youth,
right? But really, like, prison, jail, juvenile shit like that. It's really just kind of like refining school for criminals at this point, based off of the way that we actually treat it. Because like I say all the time, prison is not punishment. Prison is basically just, we're gonna put you in timeout for a little bit. Here's your Game Boy. Have fun. You'll be back in a couple of years, but ultimately, it's no sort of deterrent for anybody. Anybody's just kind of like, oh, fuck it. I got 3 hots in a cot for a couple of years, And in terms of young people and stuff like
and
that,
street cred,
right? In terms of young, real young people, like at the age of 14 and 15 and shit like that, it really does kind of shape their future, seeing as they really have never they've never even been able to work at McDonald's yet, And so I think ultimately, like when I don't know how we're going to actually change the youths and shit like that. I think it's going to take, several generations of, different messaging, censorships, building solid foundations and shit like that. And, I think ultimately it's, gotta get some fathers to stay fucking home, work for
Dude,
a
I
living.
can tell you, I came up poor as shit. You know, lived in the fucking hood. You know, went to predominantly black schools. My dad wasn't in the house, but still, the threat that he lived 20 minutes away, and if I did some shit like this, try to carjack some chick, you know, not only was I probably going to go to jail for it, but I was going to get my head split the fuck
Right.
open before the cops could fucking even come get me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there was that tends to be a deterrent for sure, man. And you know, you don't want to just blame, you know, specific people, but you know, statistics speak for themselves. And this is exactly what we were speaking about with, like, you know, the rap and shit like that. Like you were just saying, the direct repercussions of, you know, making crack dealers and fucking pimps heroes for decades.
I think the first 1 or 2 times that I got arrested and shit like that when I was a juvenile, I think that was the point where, you know, my pops was finally just like, fuck it. You're going to do what the fuck you want to do. You know, I ain't going to beat your ass no more, you know? And, yeah, like I say, you know, things like that really kind of shape, you know, young people's futures and stuff. And it's not necessarily like, oh, you poor kid, you went through some trauma. Like, no, it's you fucking dumbass. You have a chip on your shoulder. Now you think you're somebody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you made wrong decisions and there's repercussions for it. Now you're gonna have to fucking deal with it, and
Right.
not just like it's because socioeconomic factors that, you know, the party that's currently letting them off for fucking straight up created. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they always, you know, the statistics, right, speak for themselves. Of the, you know, predominantly where this stuff happens, it's almost always Democrat strongholds, man. Even if it's in a red state, where people love to point out cities that are in red states, like, well, what about, you know, Louisville? You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. You're like, dude, it's a blue city. It's, you know what I mean? It's a Democrat mayor, Democrat city council. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
Right.
always the same shit.
Yep.
Democrat
Fucking-
policies keep you a socioeconomic victim, and their propaganda is a detriment to your children's fucking minds. I
Right.
mean,
They get massive funding for all these, you know, so-called programs and stuff like that they put on. But ultimately, who the fuck is going to work harder to get themselves out of a job? You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like,
and it's crazy how far they've fallen, because like Tipper Gore, like I was just saying, the one that pushed to remove rap and at minimum get the explicit label was a Democrat, right? That's Al Gore's fucking wife, man. And you know, it's not now, it's like with that same party, if you even point out the repercussions of these actions, fucking it's your racism.
Do you even point out
Yeah.
statistics based
Yeah.
on the fucking, you know, these cultures? You know,
Yep.
it's yeah,
I'm surprised
liable to get
Statista's
you
allowed to
fired.
be around.
Right. Well, everybody knows Statista's racism, so
Right.
it's definitely a white supremacist website. So
Yeah,
everybody
they
knows
give
that.
statistics on everything from fucking weather to, you know, grain production, but you know, it's definitely racisms because they also give crime statistics and whatnot.
All right, man. Fucking if there's any sort of racial aspect to anything involved in anything that you do, it's racism. Don't you know that a small little grain of leaven leavens the whole lump?
Right.
That's their logic on it.
Noticing in any fashion is
Right.
racisms or anti.
Yeah, don't you know that anything I perceive as racism makes you a racist? Yeah, these people are insane. Yep. But yeah, man. Fucking Big Balls, man. He's a legend.
He's got big balls.
He's got the biggest balls of them all. Yeah,
Yep,
Big
dude,
Balls.
he rolls into Doge with his wheelbarrow and shit. I'm like, fucking, what up, son?
Big Balls 2042, man. 2042. You're in there, bro.
2042.
If we're still around, man, you're in there, dude. Like, fucking stay with it, man. Like, remember that guy that got his fucking ass kicked by a bunch of fucking dudes in DC fucking, you know, like 20 years ago? Like, oh yeah,
The
he's president,
president now, man.
bro. He's younger than JFK, man.
Right. 52, man.
Right. But speaking of DC, man. So what's the whole fucking thing with the DC police manipulating deliberately manipulating their crime statistics in order to make it seem like violent crime has actually gone down, when meanwhile they're just reclassifying the way that they classify things like aggravated assault and such.
Well, I mean, obvious, right? Again, Democrat stronghold. That's why the Democrats push for DC statehood. Statistically voted 92% for fucking camel toes in the previous election, and so obviously it was to their benefit to say that the Harris and Biden regime's policies has brought down crime statistics in the nation's capital, right? When in reality, like you just read off the old Trump post there, it's been a nonstop crime spree of carjacking and robbings. Even seated officials and whatnot, their staff, and even Secret Service members have had at least attempted robberies or carjackings on them. You know what I mean? So it's completely out of control, and it's a disgrace to the greatest country that's ever fucking been on this earth, that our capital's borderline third world shithole. You know what I mean? Like, apparently there's you can watch videos where there's tents on the sidewalk, not like on an underpass or on the fucking sidewalk.
Wasn't a congressman like randomly fucking shot to death in DC like a year or two ago?
Yeah.
Right, crime's definitely gone down there, you guys.
Yeah, a Secret Service member was
right, that
attempted robbery. Yeah, and he ended up shooting the dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could keep going. Rand Paul and his wife were attacked there in fucking DC. You could just keep going, man.
All right. What do you think it is that basically is just attracting the blacks to a place like DC? Do you think that they were there, from the old slavery days and stuff like that, or do you think that
absolutely
something has drawn them to that particular fucking square of the United States for some reason?
It was just the move, the migration north after slavery was abolished to more industrial areas to fucking get jobs. The same thing happened to Detroit. And, then again, you weave in those Democrat policies that basically pay, women to kick the father out, and, handouts to everyone for housing vouchers and fucking food stamps and shit like that in return for fucking massively high property taxes, which the most Democrat voters don't worry about because they're there renting anyway. So, I'd say that's it.
Right.
Combination of decades, like I said, just like Detroit. I mean, the exact same repercussions even. And people like to say, well, that's because of the automotive industry. It's because of Democrat policies. They've been in control of Detroit since the fucking 60s. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you would hope that after such time, the chickens would come home to roost. But, like I say, there's a lot of people out there that just never get it, just never clicks for them. And they get duped at every fucking turn, and then they sit there and fucking try and blame fucking other people, try and blame fucking white people, try and blame Republicans, blame Donald Trump. Like,
yeah,
he's like, the whole thing is you're just an idiot and you get lied to every fucking day, and, you get fucked over for it. And then you want to blame somebody for your bad decisions.
It's fully the, don't feed the animals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it is. I mean, you feed the animals, they become dependent, and then when the food isn't there, they become aggressive. You know what I mean?
Yep. Except shit, these animals are like a fucking, they have lures and traps and shit that try to entice you in. And if you're not smart enough to see the actual big contraption around the fucking piece of cheese, you're gonna get snapped,
I mean, and we're all animals. I mean, obviously, we can all be fucking duped. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so long of it, when it becomes a generational aspect, obviously the cognitive dissonance is going to be deep.
Right. That's why I'm hoping, man. Like I said, we're seeing in terms of, polling, things like that, which again, you can't really trust it, too much, but nonetheless, we're seeing Donald Trump is continuing to rise. I think again, there's a lot of people that he's kind of pissing off in certain aspects, but at the same time, he's also, doing good things for them in other aspects. So I think he's really doing this kind of good balancing act among a lot of people within the country. And he's actually proven, the merits of trying to make America great again, rather than continuing to kick the same can down the road that we've been doing for so long, which has resulted in where we're at now. And I think
30 trillion.
Right. And I think, a lot of people, like, from the Mexican community to the black community, they're starting to realize how long they've been pandered to by the Democrats. And they're starting to realize, like like I say, they're finally getting jaded in the same way that we're just getting jaded about Donald Trump, about the Democrat Party, but it's been like 3 or 4 generations,
Right.
Right. They're finally just like, wait a minute, I think they're lying to us, bro. Like,
Was it
nah,
Charles
fuck that.
Barkley?
Vote for
I think-
Trump, man.
Yeah, I think it was Charles Barkley that said, poor people have been voting for Democrats for 50 years. They're still poor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I say, it takes a couple generations, I guess, but I mean, nonetheless, I do think that the tides they are shifting a little bit.
That goes back to what you were saying, what we were just talking about. Like you said, the only way to really pull it off, though, you got to start with the Utes, man. And that's
Right.
the same thing that they did to us, right? The Frankfurt School, hence the reason that they have fought so hard to try to keep DEI and,
Hence the reason my generation is
LGBTQ
dumb.
dinosaur sign fucking bullshit in schools. You know what I'm saying? The reason they introduced it
Dare
in
program.
schools, right? I mean, you got to start with the Utes.
Right. Yeah.
Something the communists knew well.
It's that good messaging and a solid foundation, man. That's really what we need, And I think, whatever, dude. Like, fucking, I ain't out here like, oh, we need to ban strip clubs and all porn should always be banned for like whatever. But I do think that we need to more, restrict these in terms of how we're only able to get it to adults that are able to prove that they are adults.
Obviously you probably remember, you're a little younger, right? But like, dude, porn was way cooler when it was taboo and it was hard to
Right.
get. You know what I'm saying?
Right. When it was
Like-
fucking like, I stole this magazine, you found it under my dad's mattress.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, or you had to go to some disgusting seedy shop that you didn't want to be seen at to fucking purchase your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Right.
there's
I
nothing
say-
wrong with that.
Bring that back, dude. Like, say, if it fucking blacked out buildings only, like fucking
Yeah.
just solid colors, no windows, fucking all brick. Fuck it, do.
And you
do
got to
what
show an
guys
ID,
do,
get it in the door, just like you're going to a head shop or a fucking
Right.
dispensary, man.
Right, exactly. But yeah, like I say, in terms of censorship, dude, like I say, we could do a much better job of making sure that this stuff isn't, one, seen by kids, and 2, pushed towards kids, And in terms
Absolutely.
of, giving your kids a good foundation, I do just think that that's going to come with better values, better understanding of what it is to be an American, what it is to be, a good person, what have you. Of course, like I say, I'm trying to give my family the Christian foundation, but, I guess to each their own. That's the American way. As long as you're a good person, that's all that matters, really. But yeah, so I think there's plenty of things that we could do to really kind of change the course that we've been going down for so long, which has led to everything that we're seeing, finally come to fruition. But yeah, it's, like I say, it's just going to take a generation or two. But I do think that a lot of the people are starting to, turn on that switch, and from the black and brown community, they're starting to realize that they've been fucking pandered to for generations and generations. And then even to the youths and stuff, now they're starting to realize, like, dude, we gotta give it a raw deal, man. Like, we're getting fucked right now.
Especially, with the Democrat Party, for the simple fact that anyone that the Utes do support in their party gets blacklisted by their own party. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
I mean, they wanted to put, Bernie in at least as their primary pick for, several cycles. And it's like the party refuses, you know what I mean? And then you had a decent sized group. I mean, obviously the majority of the Democrat Party fell in line behind Camel Toes, but you also had the halfway sane part of their, party that were like, we don't want her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't democratic. Like,
Right. Right. And it's because the Democrat Party isn't about, what the Democrat or what the people want. It's about what the Democrat Party wants, And that's why
I mean, ultimately the GOP is as well.
Right.
Let's be
Yeah,
real,
But in terms of, like I say, it's not necessarily even the GOP that's even doing any of this right now. It's all basically Trump and the whole movement that is MAGA, And I think
the GOP's not doing shit.
Right.
They just take breaks.
Right. And I think, all of that, it just has to do with like I say, just the generations and generations of garbage and fucking wasteful spending and just corruption, fucking bad messaging towards the youth and things like that. And I think that's like I say, all this coming to fruition, and it's basically forcing like a turning of the tides.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see, especially even just the little things, right? Like the previous administration named an aircraft carrier after a kid diddler, right? Old hard
Right.
mill, right? And I mean, it's not to see that kind of shit reversed.
Right.
How could
Yep,
you
so-
take pride in that in any way?
Right. And when you're the left, man, if Donald Trump hates it, you have to love it. You must take pride. You must
Yeah.
abide.
It's 8-8, so the you could talk about a little the meme where it's shows a bunch of soldiers, a mix of different soldiers, World War II, and the United States in there as well, and it's like someone comes from the future to them, and it's like, if you guys continue to fight on this side, your grandkids are going to be gay and trans, and your country's going to be trillions of dollars in debt, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. Fucking, I always wonder, of course, it's one of those far out theories, man. But if we ever get, if we ever were to get time travel, would we really go back very, very far? And if we did go back very, very far, would we go back very, very far to change it, or simply to just see what happens, or to see what happened, what actually transpired, like basically, ultimately, I think if we were to actually get time travel, most people would probably only go back to like see their grandparents meeting or something, or things like that. Like they'd just go to the near past, things that are actually relevant to them at that time.
I think the vast majority of people would be all about self-enrichment, man. I know that's one of my first thoughts. Like, it's the fucking Back to the Future still,
Well-
where you go back with a sports almanac and
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
That'd be cool if it was like that, but ultimately I mean, in terms of just my concept of time and space and things like that, I ultimately don't think that there'd be very much of a two-way trip. I think it'd really just kind of be like, where do you want to go, man? Don't fuck us up.
Right. Don't touch anything. man.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. Don't touch anything. Live a simple fucking life and then
Right.
die. Okay. Like, yep. I mean, I think that'd be most likely the scenario. Just some fucking drifter shows up into town one day, and then next thing you know, fucking there's a sitcom.
There's just some weird guy fucking hanging out asking how they purchase fucking stocks.
Right. All the fucking rich fucking kids and shit in the future and shit. Right. Yeah. I think ultimately all of it could have major repercussions. So I don't think that even if we were to get some sort of time travel, I think it'd be fucking buried deep within fucking government. I think that'd be
Oh, yeah.
deeper than fucking Epstein, way deeper than Epstein.
Yeah, it would be nothing that could ever possibly
Right.
come out like to
Never see the light of
public.
day.
Yeah, it would
Right.
destroy everything.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, we ain't gonna get no time travel.
And the greatest minds theorize that you could go fucking what was it? I believe that you could only go backward. That you couldn't go forward. That the equations that like Stephen Hawking, for instance, ran for years or whatever it takes to do one of those fucking 5-paragraph problems. It's that was his deduction, that you could only go backward.
Right.
And that to go forward, it would take reaching or surpassing the speed of light, which obviously, with any current rendition of, technology or physics is just, completely impossible just from drag itself,
Right. Shit, that'd be crazy if just this whole universe is just the timeline, the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega, the embodiment of God, and basically just when you die and you go to heaven, it's basically just you can fucking watch it like a movie, see everything, see everything that has ever transpired ever. Just pick a time, pick a place, like look at it all, see it all, know the truth. Like that'd be some pretty crazy stuff. Again, I have no foundation for that, but that'd be pretty crazy if that's what it was,
Yeah, just ethereal fucking conscious, and yeah, it'd be insane.
Right.
unlock the powers of the universe. You know what I mean? That'd be
You just
nuts to even think
float
about.
around like a whisper in the wind, any time and place that you would like, like that'd be pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, could very well happen. I mean, maybe not to that, exact, specs, right? But we're energy.
Right.
I mean, it's easy to deduce that you go back to, to energy, the universe, man.
Right. Yep. So that'd be pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, you've seen those photos, going around the inner zones where they say it's like the moment of death in a hospital. Like they take a still shot from, cameras and whatnot, like, surveillance cameras, and it's supposed to show the moment the spirit's leaving the body. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously just energy,
Right. Yep. Yeah, I remember because I was when my mom passed. I was sitting I was sleeping in the couch like next to her on the hospice bed, and yeah, dude, I had some weird dreams at the moment that she passed. Yeah, some weird stuff.
Yeah, that is crazy, man.
Yeah.
So the same thing. You hear those stories, it's like communication.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy stuff, man. Like I say, it's far beyond anything we could comprehend or even speak. So I mean, ultimately, that's why I've just reserved myself to go with. Ultimately, people have thought about this question since the dawn of consciousness, and based off of what I see in the world, the conclusion that people have come to is Jesus, and so that's why I've come to Jesus.
Praise Jesus.
But yeah, dude, like I say, in terms of what actually is everything, how things happen, like I say, based off of all the things that I've read and looked into and stuff like that, seems as though the general consensus is, well, at least the strongest consensus has become that the universe favors Jesus, this Jesus guy. So yeah. And then, of course, I dug far deeper, and then here I am today. But it's definitely an act of Jesus. Fucking Los Angeles is on fire again.
Again.
Right? What is it? 8 months ago that fucking the Palisades fire just burned down half of Los Angeles.
Yeah, and they've only given out like 100 fucking permits.
Right.
They don't even want to rebuild.
Let's see that. Right. So now the Canyon fire is wreaking havoc. Good times. So I don't know what's what's taking place with all this, but the funny thing is the whole time that all this is. Yeah, I think it was about 5,000 last time I checked. But the funny thing is, the whole time that all this is taking place, the left is over here criticizing the natural disaster readiness of Texas. Of course, with the floods that just took place not too long ago. So yeah, it's like I say, it's really just the pot calling the kettle black. And again, when you look at California, this type of stuff happens all the time. Why does it always get to this extent? Why don't you guys ever clear out your brush? Like, why don't you guys ever, clean up the fucking dead foliage with, on the forest floors? Why don't you guys fucking stock your actual, water hydrants, your water systems, things like that? Like, why do you guys just suck at this year after year after year when this keeps happening year after year after year? And then you have the audacity to criticize the readiness of other states, which, don't get me wrong, Texas, they don't always have the best natural disaster response either. But I mean, ultimately, like I say, it's the pot calling the kettle black,
Man, it's, you got to know that the life of the Guatemalan sandworm is more important than fucking anything else, bro. You can't be cleaning up the underbrush, bro. I mean, dude, last time I saw it was like 5,000 acres burned at 0% contained. Like you said, regardless of, obviously you see those firefighters out there. I mean, they want to do their job. They're there to do their job. I'm sure they're, great at it. But the state itself is horrible at managing its resources, and, continues to show fucking time and time again. And from what I understand, the previous burn sites, in lots of other areas in the state still don't have water in the hydrants. So, I mean, they're not even, like, you just saw the national embarrassment, not to mention the price tag. And again, they've given out like 100 permits, but they're trying to rezone it for like low income housing at the same fucking time. It's just a worm deal, and these people are completely evil and inept, and it's almost planned destruction at this point.
Right. Yep. And again, Gavin Newsom, go ahead and run for fucking president. We'll just fucking go reel after reel after reel. We have hours of this footage. We have videos of Gavin Newsom standing next to a fire, like, man, this is bad. Like, fucking A, dude. This is your fault. Like, the buck stops here with you, man.
And again, he's capable of cracking the whip. We all remember the show he put on for fucking old Gigi, right? Yeah. Cleaned up the homeless and the trash and the feces in the streets overnight, and even admitted to such for the sole reason of impressing a communist leader. But for the populace that pays exorbitant amount of taxes and cost of living prices, fuck off and die,
Right. Yep. Give me your money.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's perfect. That's who he reminds me of. You need to do like the suicidal video, dude. Instead of Jimmy Swaggart, it's fucking New Scum.
Right.
Yep, that's perfect.
Man. Yeah. Good times, man. I'm just waiting for our wildfires out here because, of course, I mean, keep in mind it is wildfire season. So I mean that is something that is contributing to it, but nonetheless, their ineptitude to be able to take care of such problems at moment's notice, it's really showing.
Not to mention the fact, like you just said, it's wildfire season. You know what I'm saying? Like, it like enough. We know it's coming enough to call it a fucking season. Like, come on, man.
Yep.
And we live in a state with an extreme water shortage. Yeah. We're not on the ocean that we can just desalinate at any given moment. And dude, our hot shots here are fucking amazing. They're Johnny on the spots, man.
Yep. Yeah, shit, we'll go fucking drain your pool and shit. We ain't even got to ask you. We're just going to go drop a shit in your pool and we're going to go throw it on the fire. Like, that's going to happen, Yeah, we don't fuck around when it comes to fires out here because, you know why? Because we get them every fucking year. And we kind of know what to do. Yeah. And of course, that is Arizona's natural, Achilles heel is water. We ain't got no fucking water out here, So of course that is something that we make sure that we are well stocked on, as you pointed out. California does none of that, and they're right next to a fucking ocean. And matter of fact, they'll even prevent you from being able to go into those to the oceans to where they empty into lakes and start to become fresh water to actually put onto the fires because there's a sea slug there.
Right, the death smell.
Right. Yeah, the smelt.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, absolute ridiculousness. And again, I think a lot of this stuff really is, it weighs on people. Just of course, everybody's perpetually online nowadays. You look at what's trending. I mean, that's basically what people are actually talking about. And in terms of the propaganda and stuff like that, as we talked about, I think that people are just kind of over it. I think that they could just kind of see it as soon as they see it, and then just like, nope, I ain't even listening to you. You go fuck off, Joy Behar. And so I think this is really, things like this really do turn the tides even further, and it just kind of continues to show the incompetence of basically what we've been doing for the past 50, 60 years. You
got to restrict and shut down fucking wood burning pizza joints because of the environments, but let's not try to prevent thousands of acres of burning just by cleaning up the fucking underbrush and doing some lumber work.
Right. What about the tree slugs, man? Tree slugs.
Right, the Guatemalan sandworm.
Right. I bet you didn't think of that, huh?
Like the Guatemalan sandworm's only there because you let illegals pour into the fucking state. It was brought in like on luggage and stuff, man.
Right.
That's the reason they ask you if you got fruits and vegetables.
Well, the Native Americans actually venerated that slug, and so you are just being racist now. All right.
Right. Racism.
Everything circles back to fucking skin color.
They got to find some way to blame it on fucking Crooks right now. You know what I mean? Like, to me, like, if I was a Democrat strategist right now, I would come out and be like, see, we got this going on. You know, it's natural disasters and we need help. Trump's is threatening to hold fucking, funds for disaster for the people of this state because we don't support Israel's genocides, Palestinians. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could go ham right now. But you know what I mean? Instead, what's their game? Let's go hide in fucking Illinois from our duties, dude. Like, fuck. That might go with your donors, but for the public, you just look like a fucking moron. And the other side of that coin is, sure, you're bullshitting, but every time their mouths moves, they're bullshitting. So what's the fucking difference, dude? Well, one will fire people up. The other is only going to get you fucking, a few donations and your supporters to be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's not doing nothing. Go there and fight. Fighting's not leaving. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how Rome was won, bro. They like left. Not that I want the Democrats to win or anything, and I'm the furthest from any kind of strategist, right? But that's just my lowly 2 cents. You hear Carville the Raging Cajun going on right now, railing about messaging and basically propagandizing to gain power to be able to stack the government in their favor. But they just, for a party that seems so good at it for so long, I think they've lost that ability, right? It comes with the DEI hires.
Things, man.
Yeah.
I think they've lost just about everything, man. Like I said, in terms of polling, and again, only trust that as far as you can. But like I say, Donald Trump continues to go up, and the Democrats on the defensive continue to go down for some reason.
Yeah.
And it really, I think it is just the Democrats are breaking up a lot of the people, because again, they used to be completely in lockstep. We used to actually kind of admire them for that. Like, oh well, one thing you could always count on the Democrats on is they are always going to follow orders. They're not going to think outside the box. They're not going to vote outside of party lines. They're always going to march in lockstep. And of course, I think they're starting to realize the unsustainability of that, and it's really falling apart because of the fact that there's nothing that actually holds them together other than the fact that they have a D before their name, which gives them political power in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, their move is, like I said, dude, cowering, TikTok fucking videos, corny shit. You know what I mean? And for real racist fucking slurs and whatnot, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because whites is like all the time, dude. All the fucking time. Like, man, come on now. As they're pointing a finger. That white piece of shit is racism's.
Right. That white guy called you the N-word. Let's go hate him together.
Right.
I'm offended for you. Yep. Speaking of the left getting offended, the salt on this is going to be fun. Some states are banning soda, candy, and prepared desserts on the EBIT. Right. The left are melting down about this, right? Of course, you're like, oh, no. What do you mean I can't take my $12,000 that I get from my 12 kids with fucking 12 baby daddies? And buy fucking, Little Debbie's and fucking Doritos and all this fucking, gallons and gallons of soda and shit like that. Like, well, nope. I mean, if you're going to be living off the taxpayer dollar, I mean, there's no way that you're going to be sitting there eating fatter than the fucking taxpayer. So, you're going to fucking, all those snacks, all those sodas, all that shit, gone. You're going to have to make better choices. You're going to have to fucking cook for once. Your microwave's going to get a rest for a little bit. It's going to be good times. It's going to be better for you guys in the long run. Okay. But of course, that's racism. It's definitely racism. It's rooted in white colonialism, I've heard.
Yep, man. But on the flip side of that coin,
no EBT sign. Good.
On the flip side of that coin, dude, is they will be eating a lot better than a lot of the taxpayers, for the simple fact, like one of these videos that that are floating around, the dude's bitching because all he can buy is like chicken and steak and shit. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, dude, again, it's not like you want your countrymen to go hungry or fucking anything like that, but you don't want, lifelong dependence. And at the same time, you don't want to reward it with, sure, you can't buy a Reese's, but you can go get a T-bone. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. But at the same time, I mean, like I say, I'm not on board with the whole fucking EBT scam in the first place, whether it's for healthy foods or not, but nonetheless, like you said, you don't want to see your fellow countrymen starving, things like that. But in terms of health and things like that, I do think that eating things like poultry, different proteins, things like that, and that you actually cook yourself is going to be much healthier for us in
Oh
the
yeah,
long run than just everything sugar based, everything
absolutely.
sprinkled with fucking sugar and shit. So I think ultimately in the long run, I mean, yeah, even though they're probably going to be eating T-bones and shit like that, while the rest of us are over here, eating fucking chuck and shit, I think ultimately it's going to be better in the long run, health wise. And then in
Yeah,
which
I
case
mean,
they won't be on disability on top of getting fucking food stamps as well. Hopefully.
yeah, and also you got to think about public medical costs, right? I mean, as far as that's too, it's going to cut down that as well. That's billions of dollars bubble as well. But like I said, I'm actually all for food stamps. You know what I'm saying? On a limited basis, like you surely can't stay on it for years. It's good as a crutch. Certain times, everybody has fucking hard
Right.
times, shit like that. And if I'm gonna be forced to pay taxes, I want it to go to help my countrymen over fucking foreign countries and endless wars and whatnot.
Mhm.
I just don't want it to be taken advantage of, and it's got to be controlled. And again, you go back to that aspirational thing with sure, we'll help you, but you're also going to have to do for yourself. You're either going to have to be actively finding gainful employment, or in the process of going through one of these programs that we can fund in lieu of foreign bullshit as well, that will train you as a fucking adult. Because it seems like at 25 or something like that, there's no help for people in this country other than fuck, well, I can get fucking food stamps. You know what I mean? Where I'm that
Right.
it seemed like when I was younger that wasn't the case. There was more programs for fucking adults. Like
We
some people make
we
fucking
took a
bad
crutch and
choices
turned it
as
into a
kids.
hammock.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, that goes back to the thing that we were talking about with censorship, better values, and better messaging, things like that. I mean, ultimately, it comes back to things like this too. Um, ultimately, like I say, there's lots of things that we could change here in the United States. Like I say, after generations and generations of the same thing, leading to where we're at now. Where people feel entitled to go buy fucking $12,000 worth of fucking snacks and shit at Costco, based off of the on the taxpayer's dollar. I think we could start with changing some of the stuff that we have noticed has had a noticeable effect on our communities, our minorities communities.
Yeah, and it's not people like to, oh, well, it's supposed to be a free country. Says, dude, you're not free if you're accepting handouts from other people. You're not free, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're like So I think it should be even more limited, like this, and not only the 1K, but like Sam's. Like, did you go to fucking Walmart and Walmart only? You know what I mean? Like that's the only place in the country that accepts EBT from here on out. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
I mean, of course, there's other places that you could make exceptions for, the dollar store or what have you. But ultimately, they if you're collecting food stamps, like again, like you just said, you shouldn't be able to live better than the people that are paying for them.
Right. Yep. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Like I said, I guess, I'm not, fully against the concept as well too. Like I say, you want to take care of your fellow countrymen. You don't want to see, the people starving and stuff, but ultimately you really don't want to see this type of stuff either.
Right.
Like all this stuff is just fucking infuriating. And it's not even necessarily the fact that they're buying all of this food. Like, fine, whatever, like if that's the fucking amount they give you, fuck it, buy all the fucking food and shit you want, but the whole thing is the fact that they're flaunting it in your face. It's like, ha, just got my EBT check, let's go fucking spend some money and shit, like, and at the same time, dude, there's places in like California where you could get your fucking nails and your hair done for EBT. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, like to the point that it's gotten, nowadays. And
That's
so,
you go to in Detroit, dude. All the liquor stores and gas stations, they'll sell you whatever and ring you up for food. And
Right.
then, you know what I mean? Run the card. There's places that do prepared food, which you weren't. I guess some places do that now, but you weren't supposed to be able to buy prepared food, and they would skirt that by it's basically like a deli. You purchase it raw, then they cook it for you. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to skirt the restrictions.
Yep, and that's what we see take place time and time and time again. That's why there's that saying, nothing is more permanent than temporary government assistance. And it's
Yeah, you
that's
wish World War One
not
would end, so fucking this temporary income tax would
right,
stop, right?
right. Like I say, we know what the problems are. We could identify them easily, but we just choose to. Oh well, I guess that's never going to happen. I guess it is just the way it is. We just got to accept it. And I think, like I said, Donald Trump and people finally starting to wake up and pay attention to what's going on in the world around them is going to contribute to that.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that use the EPT are incapable of digesting per capita, but they love to point out, well, more white people. When again, the country's like 48% white, and per capita, whites collect
Right.
way less in fucking benefits. You know what I mean? And again, it's it starts with the youth, and you can't let people become dependent. Like we were saying earlier, don't feed the animals because when the food's gone, they become aggressive. And this is the sign of it. Just the threat of it. They're out here fucking, going ham like it's COVID stocking up on butt wipe, right? And then, like you said, it's a massive burden. Not just the program itself, but the repercussions of the choices made with it. And there's a lot of fraud, crack dealers, even. You know what I mean? You get 2 for 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, fools outside stores that run in and get your shit with their EBT, and you give them cash. And I mean, there's so many ways to scam, and you're not going to stop all of that, but you sure can. You sure can cut down a shit ton of it with fucking the right restrictions, and where it's accepted is a major fucking factor.
That's why I'm a big fan of sunset clauses, man. Like we need to fucking start doing more of those if we're going to start doing programs like this. Because obviously, things are going to run their course. And what are the people going to do? The people are going to do what they always do. They're going to figure out ways to use and abuse it to further their own self-interest, right? And so ultimately, I think with things like this, maybe in about 20 years, we should come back and revisit it, see what we've learned from that, make changes that we need to. And if we want to keep it, keep it. If we don't, we do nothing and it's gone. I think we need to start doing more of that stuff.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, sunset clauses are a terrific way to fucking, deal with things. You're not a monster. You're helping people, and you're not just going to cut them off, right? You give them that, hey, this is going to end in this amount of time. Plan for it accordingly, and you see what people really are when it comes down to force. When it comes to, dude, you're not going to be able to fucking go ham no more. You're only going to get $100 this month, and the next month nothing. Let's see what you do now. I mean, after the wind down, of course.
Yep. And then fucking the same people that are advocating for all this socialism for these Zoran Mondanis are the same people that whenever Trump tries to take action and stuff, this is a free country, like freedom, they do. Like you're over here pushing socialism. Like, you guys are the reason that we're marginally a free country.
Yeah, and the same people also love to talk about reparations and whatnot, right? Even the fucking Mondani crew, all them type of people, push for the same bullshit. And this is the reparations. Like we've paid trillions of dollars, right, in fucking benefits and medical benefits and Section 8 housing and car vouchers. You just keep going, Education for people that aren't, their kids that aren't paying taxes and fucking. So on and so on.
And you know what? Whether it was reparations or whether it was this, the same outcome would have taken place. Because you can't just fucking give people something based off of their skin color or based off of favorability because of social status, things like that, and expect them to just turn around and, oh, I appreciate the leg up. I will now go on to start my own business and career and be an upstanding member of society. That's not the way that things work, and we're seeing that take place. So whether you gave them, each person, of one generation, for one generation, every black person gets $1 million, to make up for the the sins of the white man to your ancestors and stuff, right? And then all that they're going to do, they're going to squander all that money immediately. The next generation is not going to do anything. There's not going to be no trickle down. There's not going to be no generational fucking wealth. You know, they're not going to, you know, it's not going to
be massive inflation.
Right. Well, yeah, of course, it's obviously going to be massive inflation, but I'm just talking about the psychological hypotheticals. You know, they're going to do the same fucking shit that they do with EBT. With
right.
all
I'm
of these
saying
other
it'll be
social
worse,
spending.
like for the
Right.
future generations, because inflation will be fucking out of control at that point, because it'll be millions upon millions of dollars going after the same amount of goods. And like you said, they're going to squander it immediately. It's going to be Escalades, gold chains, fucking, you know what I mean? Jordans, for
Right.
real. I give a
Everything's
shit.
just
And
gonna go
even the
right back to
ghetto
the
ass
white
white
man.
people. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that part isn't even racial. That's just ghetto.
Yeah.
I mean, even ghetto ass white fools do the same fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And the boo boo's boo boo.
Yep. So that's what I say, man. Doesn't matter, you know, whether it's fucking monetary reparations or fucking long-term generational reparations and things like that. Like, it's all going to have the same fucking effect of just your society is going, your culture is going to grow fucking weak and dependent, and you're going to stay there. You're not going to change at all. You're just going to, you know, you're going to become dependent. And that's what we've seen take place. And, you know, these people that are dependent, they feel entitled to all this stuff because nobody ever tells them no. Nobody ever tells them try harder. Nobody ever tells them, you know, like, hey, it's your culture that's doing this. It's you know, all this fucking you know, music and things that you guys put out there that's causing this, you know. Nobody's going to ever tell them that. So ultimately we're just going to keep paying them, and they're going to feel entitled to it. And that's you know, how we get this storm that we're in right now.
Repercussions.
Right. Repercussions.
Yep. The vast majority of lottery winners are broke within the first 5 years, man. And
Absolutely.
you know, it's the same across the board, you know.
Yep. It's that old saying, you know, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life, you know.
And if you give a mouse a cookie, that motherfucker's gonna want a glass of milk, dude.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Fucking the old proverbs reign true today, you know. But yep, definitely like I say, the tides they seem to be a turning, or so it would seem.
So you hope.
Right. I mean, either that or, like I say, the alternative, you know, still not beyond the realm of reason for civil war. You know, like I say, we are coming to a point in America where a lot of our differences are starting to almost appear to be irreconcilable. You know, I don't think that we can come to peace on this. You know, there's a lot of things that we thought we were gonna, you know, fucking like, you know what, like, people are gonna finally see the light, and, you know, everyone, like, no, dude, that's not the reality, because of the fact that no matter what, there's always going to be somebody that sees the fucking sky as blue, and that's, you know, there's always going to be somebody that says, like, no, actually it's fucking dark with stars. Like, you know, there's always going to be two sides of the coin, always, you know. And so I don't, and just with how hyper polarized that we've become today, unless people just get to a point of, fuck it, I don't care anymore, then, you know, things will go basically back to what they were, which is bad also. You know, either we keep the hyperpolarization and we, you know, break out into a, you know, open conflicts, not necessarily open conflicts, but we continue down this path that we've been doing. You know, dude, there's been like, what, 2 fucking shootings this week? We're not even going to talk about them, dude. It's a weekly occurrance now. You know, like, you know, like if you're telling me that there's not fucking violence, you know, civil unrest in this country right now, like, you're just not paying attention, you know. But yeah, ultimately, I think that, you know, things are just going to continue to escalate down this path, especially over the next 4 years, because of course we know the messaging, the media, the propaganda is going to continue to just be orange man bad, orange man bad, orange man is Hitler, you know. And so, you know, of course it's going to be coming what may, and you know, either that or, like I said, everyone's just going to get fucking bored of all of this, say this is stupid, I'm going back to fucking shoving my head up my ass, and I'm going to put my headphones on and listen to some music, you know. Like, I think, you know, if that takes place, which also could be a likely scenario, because as we've talked about before, I don't think very many Americans even have that gusto to fucking, like, nope, like, we ain't standing for this shit, I'm taking up arms, you know. I don't even think that too many people even have that in them anymore. And so, yeah, if that's the case, then it's just going to go back to the same thing that it's been, and which is looking like the way that it's going right now. Like we were talking about with Trump earlier, in terms of his geopolitical trading and things like that. How he's also attaching political riders onto these trade deals, which is basically the way that he's exerting power. And basically it's looking like it's going to be the same old. America continues to wield the big stick around the world, and meanwhile the taxpayers are fed happy and oblivious.
Yeah, and like you said, irreconcilable for the fact of tribalism and cognitive dissonance, and like you said, like the true meaning, right? You could pull out information, ideological subversion, and put it right in their face. Documentation. I mean, you've seen like the stuff that Cash has dropped. They found like supposedly mad paperwork like on the Operation Hurricane. You know what I mean? In burn bags, like hidden in the FBI fucking building. And then the way that they handled the Epstein, of course, kind of fucking tainted the whole situation. But then like the investigations into Letitia James, Adam Schiff, stuff like that, they're this is just political stuff. This is just Trump being fascist, and there's documentation to back all of it. When with Trump there wasn't, and they were dead sure that he was a fucking criminal that needed to spend the rest of his life in prison. You know what I'm saying? It's the cognitive dissonance is deep, and obviously that runs right into the tribal aspect as far as like, well, my friends are saying, so that's
Right.
what I'm saying is, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, who knows what's to come, man? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Until next time, we'll be right here reporting the news and the fall of Western civilization as we know it.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely some crazy times we're living in. Ultimately, just make sure you guys are watching out for yourselves, watching out for your families, watching out for each other, and don't fall into the fucking traps. Don't play their game and shit. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Anything else you want to add before we start to roll up out of here?
And hope you enjoyed this episode brought to you on 8/8.
Right.
And we'll be smelling you guys later. Thanks for rolling up. Hope you enjoyed, and come by.
All right. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, fuck off.